Okay, shout out to Camp Hope for hanging out with us. Tremendous insights. Had a great time. Really appreciate that, dude. Check him out on DAZN. And shout out to DAZN for feeding us all of this tremendously fun and entertaining content having to do with the Women's Champions League. 4 more matches to cover. We're going to bang through them really quickly. First one on the docket, Chelsea, Praha FC. Praha FC in a gotta-have-it type of match. They were a point behind Häcken in their group, so they needed a win. They also didn't have the tiebreaker against Häcken, so they needed the 3 points at home. But big bad Chelsea comes to town and kind of knew what time it was early. In a gotta-have-it situation, they didn't have it. So what did you see in this one?
They did not. Kind of a bummer. They lose to Chelsea in Matchday 1 on the strength of a Sam Kerr hat trick. Obviously, Sam Kerr's not appearing in this match due to injury, but just kind of bookend bad losses for Praha FC. I think in the long term, it's an encouraging showing from them. We've talked about them as giant killers. They beat Arsenal. They beat Wolfsburg on the way to even make it to the group stage. So I don't think you can leave acting like you didn't accomplish anything, but I think they will be disappointed to lose 4-0 at home in a gotta-have-it game. Not what you want.
Yeah, I think once they fell behind relatively early, I think just mentally they might have checked out. Fran Kirby gets on the score sheet in the 10th minute. That was sort of a bad omen. Fran Kirby, by the way, been looking great with a little bit extra room to operate on that Chelsea attack. So that's been exciting to watch. Mia Fischel, she also gets on the board, 37th minute. And yeah, I think at that point, you already know what time it is. I think Häcken was trending towards getting the win by that point. But all in all, good showing for Praha FC. They were coming in as the third team from France. All the French teams had a really good showing so far. 2 of them obviously make it through to the quarters. I think they will be disappointed, but a lot to build on.
I mean, they go into the match. They obviously know they're not going to see Sam Kerr or Millie Bright. But then Chelsea, they put out the team sheet, and there's no Lauren James. There's no Aaron Cuthbert. Connerud and Wrighton came on about an hour into the match, about the 61st, 62nd minute, somewhere in there. And yeah, it's just like Praha FC, they couldn't really put together a solid run of passes. They looked a little tentative in some spots. Inadozie it was a bad time for kind of a rough Inadozie match. I still think, though, I mean, we've talked about her all tournament. Inadozie, and we touched on it in the Cam Pope interview. She's the best keeper in the tournament, I think. In terms of the group stage, she was outstanding. So it was tough to see her kind of go out like this, but they'll be back. I feel like we can say that pretty confidently.
Yeah, 100%. Next matchup, got to do it. Brann, that team from Norway.
Let's go.
In a match that they didn't really need, they're taking on St. Pölten, but they got it anyway.
Damn right they did.
As our chief Brann head, what'd you see in this one?
So Sarah Matner-Tremblot from St. Pölten, she comes out of the gate, scores in the first 10 minutes there. I think it was the 7th minute, goes up 1-0. But buddy, the Brann battalion was out in full force in Bergen, Norway to sing, chant, and cheer on this great side. It was a party. I mean, they had guaranteed their way to the knockout stage. So for Matner-Tremblot to get that finish in the 7th minute, it's like, okay, I guess, if they're going to drop one, this is the one to drop, I suppose. Not so fast, my friend, because Justine Kieland had something to say about it. Right place, right time, once again.
That was a thumper.
Hell yeah.
That was a thing of beauty what she did. And typical Brann fashion, to just kind of like take a minute to kind of get revved up. Their sort of victory lap was right around 10 minutes.
Love it.
Just come out and let's get warmed up and soak it all in, and then let's kick some ass, which they promptly got to in the rest of this one.
I love it. And was that not enough though? Are we settling for a 1-1 draw?
I don't think so.
At the death, in the snow, because we have to get it in the snow, Keelan hits a perfect free kick right onto the head of Amelie Eikeland, and we have ourselves a winner. It was, and I feel silly saying this because I'm 38 years old, it was a vibe in Bergen, Norway, buddy. That shit was popping out there. They deserve every minute of this, man. I just fucking love watching this squad play so much. I cannot wait to see them, who they draw on February 6th, and then I cannot wait to see them play in the knockout stage.
They're going to be a problem for whoever gets them, for sure. I mean, that's going to be 180 minutes of rough and tumble. I mean, the sports movie continues. Love that the snow, makes a cameo near the death of the match, and to just kind of grab that winner and just be like, no, we're gonna go in on a high note again. They're gonna be a problem in the quarterfinals. We're gonna come back probably next episode, talk a little bit about the draw, because I think we'll have some intel on that, and then kind of break down those matchups. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm dying to see who we get I mean, all the 8 teams are so, like, there's not a weak team in the bunch.
Nope.
Like, really good teams got eliminated. So really any combination of any 4 versus any other 4 is going to produce fireworks, and it's going to be must watch.
Yeah, man. And you know what? In the interest of honesty, I'm rooting for him, man. I'm all in. I'm all in on this side.
Go.
And, thank you to all of you watching, supporting us, being so kind, educating us along this run. Trust us, if we could be out there, we would be out there we would be in Bergen for the knockout rounds. Maybe not this year. I guess, you're just going to make the Champions League again, and then hopefully we'll be able to get out there next run.
Yeah. And speaking of it being a party, that was something that, shout out to our Twitter friends and our YouTube friends, that was something that everybody reiterated. They're like, it's going to be a party. It's going to be a party. Yeah. And they were right on the money. Tremendous environment. That one was really fun. Can't wait to see this team again. The last quarterfinalist that we'll talk about this week, Lyon against Praha. Big time surprising result in this one. Granted, not a lot of stakes, but it's still Lyon, still super talented side. Not all of their big guns, but plenty of guns like in this one.
Yeah.
Sort of a surprise result. What are you going to take away from this one?
I mean, there's still that thing in there. Like, I know we've talked about it throughout the tournament. The staple of Lyon is we're scoring in the first 8 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
You see it happen. Majri opens the proceedings by turning a Praha corner kick into a Lyon goal. 4 minutes into the match. That happens. It's like, probably not going to be much to see here. Praha doesn't have a ton to play for. This one might be a sleeper. It might get a little ugly, and no shame to Praha if that happens. And they were not here for it. The Czech side were ready to play. Franny Cerna, she scores the equalizer for Praha, and they went nuts. And good for them, because they should have gone nuts. The announcer, as soon as she scores it, the announcer said something to the effect of, she looked like she just scored the winner of the tournament.
I didn't like that. I wasn't into that.
Oh, you think he was being a little negative?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We like to be pro-announcer here. Obviously, we just had our guy Gamp on. It was great. Right. And for the most part, the announcer had been great. But I don't know. That was not where I would have went with it. Just because it's like, man, like this team's been knocking on the door. We've talked about the adjustment that they've had to make, essentially like in their domestic leagues and in all the qualifying, high-powered offense. You can kind of see the hints of it. Yeah. And they just had a really tough time breaking through in this group stage. So to kind of get one on Lyon, and it's not like they're down 4-0 and now it's 4-1. Right. This is an equalizer. Yeah. We've talked about these teams being essentially enterprises that are going to persist decades out into the future. So all of these results, while they might not make a difference this year, they compound, and you'll see teams kind of grow and get better. And that's how you become sort of like that European powerhouse type team. So for a team like Praha, they're not here to just fucking get some cardio and workshop some stuff. Like they're trying to make a statement here, especially feeling like they didn't really have the group stage that I think they could have put together. So I wasn't a fan of the call. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think those are really fair points. And, I thought Cam said something interesting too, where he said like, sometimes you say something, and I know we do it on this pod too, where like we'll listen back to try to like QA ourselves or QC ourselves or however you want to put it. It's like, maybe I'd take that one back. So I think that's an interesting point throughout the rest of the match. And you're totally right. They should have absolutely been hyped about that. And I even think about, of course, my mind goes back to Brann. In that first Lyon match, we joked about it when Justine Kielen scored that goal against Lyon in their first fixture against them. Like she looked around like, holy shit, I just scored against Lyon. Like, that's amazing. So, you got to celebrate the good times. But speaking of those good times for Praha, I thought Lukasova was borderline superhuman between the posts for them.
Excellent.
She kept a minute. Koshikova, she gets a deflection that will forever go into Praha folklore. Again, going back to the announcer, I think that's how he framed it. I think he framed it as Praha folklore. So that's how they end up getting the equalizer. There's a Vicky Beccio goal earlier there. But for Praha to pull it back, to get a draw, even like you said, the stakes weren't there. They're already out of it. Lyon's already through. You just drew Lyon, who is one of the juggernauts of all the juggernauts in this sport. Have a day, Praha. Go out there, man. That's fantastic for them. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think Lyon, they had a real lineup out there. Basha, Majri, Diani, Ellie Carpenter, Egarola, Hegerberg, Daniel Van de Donk, Lindsay Horan's out there. They brought some big guns off the bench. Vicky Beccio, who scored, you mentioned. This was a real side.
Yep.
Really nice way to close it out for Praha. Hopefully we welcome them back next season as well. One more match to cover. This one, no stakes, really out here playing for pride. Frankfurt, Rosengård, Frankfurt kind of punctuates their group stage. Didn't end how they wanted it to end, but a nice way to kind of hang it up for this Champions League season. What'd you see in this one?
Frankfurt, the 4-time European champs. They made certain that they had a farewell game to remember. The Denzel Washington clip of, I'm leaving here with something. I feel like that was kind of Frankfurt's motto here. Elena Achigaz had a brilliant chip in the first half to put Frankfurt up 1-0. You go into the half 1-0 and you're like, okay, a solid performance from the German side. They're going to make sure they get this win. Like you said, they're playing for pride. Then they scored 4 goals in an 18-minute stretch from the 66th minute to the 84th minute. And you end up with a really lopsided scoreline. Rosengård exits the tournament with 1 draw and 5 losses. But I think the combination of you're in a group with Benfica, Frankfurt, and Barcelona, and then maybe some unlucky bounces that weren't great for them. I think it looks worse than Rosengård really is. And I thought they really handled themselves very well in their 2-2 draw versus Benfica last week. So if you're Rosengård, you can climb back into this tournament in the future. Damallsvenskan is a great league over in Sweden. It probably wasn't a great time this year, but if you're Rosengård, we'll see you again down the line.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to them. Shout out to Frankfurt. Good way to end this run. Didn't break their way, but nice way to go out. Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
I think that largely covers it, man. I mean, just what a fantastic celebration of life this group stage was in general.
Oh, the group stage of life.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, again, just, thanks to everybody kind of following along with us. Like I said, enjoying the football with us, educating us on some blind spots that we have over here in America. I mean, this has just been such a wonderful tournament so far, and we have epic football yet to be played. And so we get the draw on February 6th, and I cannot wait to see who matches up against who, namely who has to suffer the punishment of playing Brann. I cannot wait to see.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're gonna have to fire up the mics pretty soon thereafter. We'll work on the scheduling here offline, but a couple other programming notes. We are gonna come back with a very American style power rankings 1 through 8. That's going to be quite the exercise. It's going to be fun to kind of compare notes as well on that. But yeah, I think we did it, man. This has been another episode of Into the Channel. Subscribe or follow us, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen. Comments, ratings, reviews, feedback, information, learnings, always appreciated. We appreciate each and every one of you guys who chimes in with extra context that really helps us understand what we're watching and helps us with our storytelling. At ITC_pod on X, at Into the Channel pod on Threads. Big thanks for watching or listening. We are thrilled to have you hanging out with us. Big thank you to my co-host, Mr. Grand Angle, for advancing to the knockout stage along with me. And we're just getting started, man.
We're on to the knockout stage. Let's do this, buddy. We're going to make it through.